It's time for the Tubi Tuesday March recap. Hey Tubi friends, it's Brad and I am back with another Tubi Tuesday recap. For those that don't know what Tubi Tuesday is, this is a video that comes out the last Tuesday of the month, and I recap my highlights and my lowlights for what I watched on Tubi this past month. And you can follow along to these watches throughout the month. Just follow me at Tubi Tuesday. And every Tuesday, we have a theme. So make sure you follow along to the fun. All right, it's time. Let's get into it. All right, like I said, I watched 21 movies on Tubi this past month, so I'm going to highlight and lowlight my top and bottom 5 for the month. I always like to start on the bottom, so here are my lowlights for March. Starting things off with a film called Absolutely Anything. This is a movie that stars Simon Pegg and Kate Beckinsale. Eccentric aliens give a man the power to do anything he wants to determine if Earth is worth saving. Now, this is a movie that has one of Robin Williams' final performances. He is the voice of the dog in the movie, and this is a film that should have been hilarious. I mean, you have the Monty Python guys doing the voices of the aliens, and this is a man who he can do absolutely anything. Rob Riggle is in this as like this obsessed ex-boyfriend, and it just falls flat. This film isn't really funny, and as it goes along, you're just like, all right, I know what's going to happen. I know how this is going to end. Can we just hurry up and get to the point? I cannot stress enough, do not watch Absolutely Anything. It just was not a fun watch. All right, next on the list is The Puppet Monster Massacre. Now, one of our Tubi Tuesday themes, we did puppet movies, and this was one of my watches for puppet movies. You might see another one of my watches that week up on the top of the list, but you'll just have to wait and see. A group of teens are challenged to spend a night in the Wagner mansion on the edge of town. Little do they know, the owner has concocted a monstrosity in the basement. So, like I said, this is entirely done with puppets, and it should have been a wild, fun time, but for the most part, it was not. There was a lot of it where I felt like they tried to push the envelope with these puppets, but, you know, if you want the envelope pushed with puppets, go watch Peter Jackson's Meet the Feebles. It is a far superior puppet movie than this. This just falls, again, just like the previous movie. It falls flat. It's not funny. All the scenes where they're trying to shock you, you're just like, whatever. So I cannot recommend The Puppet Monster Massacre. Next on the list is Urban Explorer. Anxious to explore the mysterious hidden world under metropolitan Berlin, an international group of 4 urban explorers hires a local guide who leads them into a maze of escape tunnels and subterranean fortifications under the city. Overall, this movie just did not work for me. It, just like the other ones, there is always a theme with the bottom. It's just one of those that it didn't grab me. It wasn't interesting. The kills and setups of everything just were And there's another movie that's on Tubi called Deep Fear that does this similar type of thing, but is a much better film. So I would suggest checking out Deep Fear over Urban Explorer. So here we go. Next, Adam and Evil. A group of sexy high school graduates are ready for a weekend of serious partying at a remote campground. Soon, a murderer is on the loose. So if you see this on Tubi, The poster for it looks very, very similar to I Know What You Did Last Summer. It has the same layout of the characters with the blue and the red, and the story of it is very similar of, something happened and this person is coming back after them, but it just does not do it as well as I Know What You Did Last Summer. It is poorly acted, very dull, very boring. The kills aren't very good, and it is definitely one I do not recommend. Adam and Evil. All right, so the last on the lowlights for the month is from one of my favorite studios, unfortunately, Full Moon Features, and that is Horror Vision. The website horrorvision.com has a mysterious secret. Anyone who logs onto it winds up dead. So the concept of it is something similar that we've seen in a lot of movies like Fear.com. You see it in Brain Scan, except it's a video game. It does not work. There are two scenes with kind of a creature that comes out that are actually pretty good, but there are two very short scenes that are far between each other. This movie is only 72 minutes, but it feels like it's 3 hours. It takes so long to get going, and when it does, you just don't care. And when you get to the ending, they kind of set it up as more of these could be coming. And I don't care if they make more. I did not enjoy my time with Horror Vision and would not recommend it. All right, let's move it to the top of the list. Let's talk about my 5 highlights for the month. And coming in first is Rage and Honor. This is a movie starring Cynthia Rothrock, who you may know from the 90s. She did a lot of martial arts movies. I knew of her. I knew about her, but I had never watched any of her movies until now. And I'll tell you what, this movie didn't disappoint. Witnessing a drug deal involving local gang members and cops, an Australian police officer feels he can no longer be just an observer. He joins forces with a local teacher who just happens to be a karate expert, and together they try to take back the streets. This movie is just a cheesy action flick from, the 90s, and it is super fun. It is super cheesy, but you just go along for the ride and have a blast. If you love action movies from late 80s, early 90s and on, this is a movie that you will definitely enjoy, and I highly recommend checking out Rage and Honor. Next on the list is Train. After a night of wild partying and missing their train, the group of students is invited to board another which happens to be heading their way. Once on board, members of the team begin to go missing, and their would-be saviors claim to have no idea what could have happened to them. This movie is pretty fun. It is one of those that kind of gets going pretty quickly and gets you into the film. I was fully into the movie from the beginning and enjoyed it all the way through. So that's why it made my list. It was just a fun watch. So I would highly recommend checking out Train. So next on the list is the other puppet film on my list, but this one hits on the highlights. And this is called The Fuzz. When a string of violent drug-related crimes rock the seedy Puppet Town neighborhood, Herbie, a puppet cop, must work together with his hapless human partner Sanchez to track down the dangerous puppet drug dealer Rainbow Brown, who will stop at nothing in becoming the most powerful criminal in the city. Now, if anybody has seen The Happy Time Murders, which came out a few years ago, that's a movie that I absolutely hated. I did not like anything about that movie. This movie came out before that, and it is very similar in its concept, but I enjoyed it a whole lot more. The jokes landed better, and it was just an enjoyable watch of puppets and humans in this world as they're trying to solve this crime that's happening. And I would highly recommend checking out The Fuzz over The Happy Time Murders. Fuzz is a much better film than that one. So that's why it landed on my highlights. All right, we only have 2 left in highlights, and the next one on the list is called Creep. Trapped in a London subway station, a woman who's being pursued by a potential attacker heads into the unknown labyrinth of tunnels beneath the city's streets. Now, this is a movie that stars Franca Potenti, who you would know from Run Lola Run. She was in the First Born movie and many other films. I really like her as an actress, and I feel like she did a great job in this one. She really sold this story of this woman trapped in the subways, trying to get away from an attacker when other things start to happen, and this attacker is killing other people along the way. This is just a fairly fast-paced film that gets going pretty quickly and hooks you in and keeps you going all the way to the end. I really, really did enjoy Creep. And what was funny is this is a movie, when I went to log it on Letterboxd, I had apparently watched it before, but I did not remember a single thing from this movie. So it was like I was watching it for the first time again. So definitely go check out Creep. So the last one on the list is The Miseducation of Cameron Poe. Now, this is a film that stars Chloe Grace Moretz. After getting caught with another girl, teenager Cameron Post is sent to a conversion therapy center run by the strict Dr. Linda Marsh and her brother, Reverend Rick, whose treatment consists in repenting for feeling same-sex attraction. Cameron befriends fellow sinners, Jane and Adam, thus creating a new family to deal with the surrounding intolerance. So, this is just a really good movie about, it's kind of like a coming of age movie that will kind of make you angry because this conversion and the things that they try to teach them, I just shake my head whenever stuff like this comes up of like, are you kidding me? The character Cameron, played by Chloe Grace Moretz, and these other characters, kind of get a little friendship bond, and as they try to figure out a way to either get out of this or get away from this situation. This is just a well done, well acted, well crafted film, and I would highly recommend watching The Miseducation of Cameron Post. There you have it. There are my Tubi watches for March. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these or any of my weekly picks. I will be back next month with my April picks. April should have some great films coming to Tubi, like the Scorpion King series. Tubi has 12 brand new originals coming, so I might check out a couple of those. But if you subscribe, you won't ever miss anything. And make sure you follow along at Tubi Tuesday on Twitter as I post my watches there. I will be back soon. And remember, Tuesdays aren't just for tacos. We'll see you later, everybody.